It's that time. We're reviewing the papers this morning, and with us is the author and broadcaster Emma Wolfe and broadcaster Pete Price in real life.
Live.
It's our Easter gift this morning. We've got Pete in person, all the way down from Merseyside.
It's outrageous. I love it. I can't believe I'm here for Easter. Best Easter present ever.
It's great to see you, Pete. Thanks so much. And Emma, shame we can't have you with us, but great to see you've got some daffodils in shot for us. Nice touch.
Absolutely. Happy Easter, everybody.
Happy Easter. Shall we kick off with you, Emma? You've picked out a story on the front page of the Sunday Times, and it's been really interesting this week, hasn't it, to see this campaign by Labour, which has been very personal when it comes to the sorts of comments they've made about Rishi Sunak. It's received a lot of criticism. What's the latest here?
Yeah, so the past few days, as you say, we've seen these attack adverts from Labour on, quite personally, on Rishi Sunak over his, over the conviction rates for child sex offences and things like that. And also, even more interestingly, a lot of discomfort within the Labour ranks, particularly the shadow Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, who it now appears didn't even know about these adverts before they were released on Thursday. A lot of discomfort amongst the shadow cabinet, criticism from David Blunkett, John McDonnell, real Labour heavyweights about this kind of gutter politics, attacking Rishi Sunak in this way. But it appears that this kind of aggressive politics is not going away. A leaked memo to activists from Labour is saying that activists should be ruthless, that they should carry on these kind of aggressive campaign tactics ahead of next month's local elections. And they are saying that the next sort of target is the very low conviction rates for rape. They will be accusing Rishi Sunak of effectively decriminalising rape because of the, barely 1.6% conviction rate for rape, which is shockingly low. Everybody agrees that. What I find really interesting about this story is actually Rishi Sunak was not even in office. He was not in charge of this kind of criminal charging during the time that we are talking about. And actually for 5 of these years, he was not even an MP, whereas Sir Keir Starmer, as we know, was the DPP. So I think this one has a long way to run, but it looks like Labour have been taking advice from their political allies in America and Australia, and they're not changing their tactics.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, Pete? A thought from you on this. It's a lot of mudslinging, but the argument, some say, is, well, no matter what you think about this campaign, we're talking about it, which is the point, which means it's been a success. But do you think they're underestimating voters? Do you not think voters are a bit sick of this mudslinging?
I think voters are going to be shocked at this, but I think this is going to be the way it's going to go for the election. Trump-esque. Trump has started this type of politics. I think Keir Starmer is leaving himself wide open because, of course, it's already been mentioned, Jimmy Savile, and where he stood over that. So if this is the way politics are going, I think it numbs people up. That's the problem that upsets me most. I don't know what you feel about that.
Well, but Pete, you say we're talking about it, but we're not talking about it in the right way. And Sally, we're not talking about Rishi Sunak's record on crime. We're talking about Sir Keir Starmer, I believe, getting himself into an almighty pickle, really going to the gutter, dog whistle politics. We're not actually talking about it in the right way. And if you talk to advertising people, and I've worked in advertising, the advert itself is not effective. It's not clear. It has no Labour branding on it. It's got a picture of Rishi Sunak, and then it's got a strange, rather confusing question. And then it's got a signature from Rishi Sunak, so even visually it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I think he's actually going down. And I think Labour are better than this. A lot of Labour people feel Labour are better than this. That's what's important.
Yeah, they're probably making the comments because they're so worried that politics are going to go this way because we've got to have a general election soon. And that's what worries me, because we've seen in America, and now America's out of control to me, totally out of control, completely down to one man, Trump, going down this road. So that's what scares me about it. And when I say about numb, I think people are going to be numb to it going going, oh, another statement,
Yeah.
and not getting to the facts.
Certainly, I spoke to a former Labour strategist about it this week. He said he wouldn't have signed off those tweets, certainly calls into question Labour's approach going forward. OK, let's move on. We could talk about that for a lot longer, but we need to get through a few of the other front pages. You picked out the front of the Sunday Telegraph. We're talking a lot about the strike action by junior doctors next week, which is going to be really disruptive. But we're also seeing potentially some real problems at schools this summer.
400,000 teachers, they reckon it's going to be the biggest strike ever. And children, they're saying that the schools will close down and have to close down because of it. Now, what bothers me about this, they were offered a £1,000 bonus for the school year with an average of 4.5% pay rise, to which they've said is a total insult. We've been in a pandemic. I'm sick of saying this all the time. We've been in a pandemic. We have got to get ourselves back on track. And this bothers me because all those pupils who have got to stay at home, their parents have got to cover their shifts and do whatever they do to make a living. So it's a snowball knock-on effect. And people are going to get angry about it as they're getting angry over the strikes. And yes, everybody wants a rise. Everybody wants more money. But we have been in a pandemic. We've had problems.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's only post-pandemic world that we're able to have you in the studio again.
Yes.
Which will drag you away from your goldfish bowl in the background. It's great to have you here. But Emma, this leads me neatly on to the front page of The Observer, which of course is leading on the junior doctor strike next week.
Yeah.
A lot of concern about how they're going to fill those gaps. It doesn't seem that they will.
Well, huge concern, and actually, real concerns over potential loss of life. So hospital trusts are taking desperate measures to fill these gaps left by up to 48,000 junior doctors walking out, or more than 48,000. This is around half of the NHS medical workforce will be walking out from 6:59 on Tuesday morning until 6:59 on Saturday morning. That is the 4 days following an Easter bank holiday weekend, a long, prolonged 4-day bank holiday weekend, in which we know that medical emergencies happen, people can't really get seen. Hundreds of thousands of appointments and operations have been cancelled. Seriously ill people need care all the time, whether or not it's Easter, whether or not whether they've got an operation or appointment. And so hospital trusts are taking desperate measures. They're apparently issuing threats to consultants, telling them that they must cover, they must go into areas that aren't their speciality. They're offering locums and GPs up to £200 an hour, so thousands of pounds a day to cover A&E, simply to prevent this loss of life. So the NHS is in a terrible state at the moment. It really is. And the amount of money that's being spent just to frantically try and cover these gaps is quite astonishing.
Yeah, and we're going to be talking about that a lot throughout the programme. Pete, just a quick thought from you on the front page of the Mirror. Olivia Pratt-Corbell, her mother, speaking for the first time after, of course, her killer was sentenced.
And it's her first Easter without her child, her baby, who she describes as a proper little girl. She's raising money for a memorial garden for children that are going to be safe. It's horrendous. And a campaign for the killers to appear at the sentence. I think that was the biggest slap in the face to this child and to the mother and the people that love that child. How dare! I would have dragged him to court. I think it's disgraceful. It's a hell of a story to read in the Mirror, and sad at Easter.
Yeah, and just very briefly, the feeling in Merseyside.
Oh, the disbelief that a child is shot in their own home.
Yeah.
Disbelief. They'll never get over that.
I mean, they've been through...
And we met because of Bulger.
Yeah, we did.
Little James Bulger. That's how we first met, when you were reporting on the story. It was horrendous.
I know, terrible. We'll have more on that later in the programme. Thanks so much, Emma. Pete, thank you very much. We'll have more for you at the top of the hour on Sky News Breakfast. Do stay with us.